Hello, hello, beautiful souls. For those of you that do not know us, my name is Tracy Cox, and I am here with the beautiful
Alyssa Cox.
And we are the Empathic Duo. We are coming here to you today for our first video of our series that we are going to be putting out on what it really is like to be an empath as an adult and a child, as a mom and a daughter, and kind of how we navigate through being empathic in this wild, beautiful, crazy world that we live in. So one of our main goals is that we believe there are a lot of people out there in this world that have different levels of being empathetic and of really being an empath. And one of the things that we want to do is let you all know that you're not alone. And that there's a lot of support, and that there are many, many people out there that are just like you. And so we want to kind of bring that to the forefront. And one of our goals is to come to you with some tools and information that we have learned on our own, and also to have some very special guests along the way, be it specialists or children that are empaths that are going to help us to spread this word out to everybody so that we can get our medicine and our message that's on our heart out to the world.
Yeah, definitely.
So one of the ways that we would like to start out is giving you our opinion or what we feel an empath is. Did you want to start out with that?
Sure. So in my opinion, an empath is someone who picks up on their own emotions a lot stronger than other people, and other people's emotions, and you might not realize it at first, but maybe if you're in situations where you're feeling really stressed and you don't know why, that could also be a reason why. What do you think an empath is?
Yes, I would have to highly agree. And I know for me, an empath has been a process of self-discovery and really learning why sometimes I'm in situations and I may all of a sudden feel a flood of excitement, or maybe a flood of nervousness, or some energy or some emotions that maybe aren't mine, and I'm not really sure why. And to me, an empath is somebody who is very highly sensitive and can really pick up on the energy of others, and often take that energy on, sometimes as their own, sometimes realizing it, and sometimes not.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And this can be a beautiful, amazing gift. And at times it could seem like a little bit of a burden, because sometimes we take on emotions, especially when we're in large groups of people, or even when we're one-on-one with each other. There are times when we tend to take the energy of other people on as our own. I know, just being a mother-daughter empath and having a really, really close energetic connection, there are times when we grab each other's emotions and energy. There may be times where I'm feeling really stressed out, and all of a sudden she doesn't know why she has anxiety. And then we realize
that we're feeling each other's energy.
Yes, and that there is an energetic cord between us, and that may be for another episode. But yeah, so to move on, being an empath brings up a lot of different things, and it really has taught, I know, both of us to really stop and kind of think.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to
No, I was gonna say kind of like stop and think about it.
Yeah, when you're feeling a flood of emotions, whether it be good, whether it be excitement or stress or whatever the emotion is, and you're not sure why you're feeling it, we have learned to kind of stop and think about our surroundings and our situation, maybe who we've been around, what we've been around, and kind of see how that may or may not be affecting us and how we may be taking that on as our own.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid and somebody who is very highly sensitive, what type of things can you express maybe that may help somebody else out that you experience?
Like kind of when I like start feeling like other people's emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One very like big main thing where I feel other people's emotions, I know a lot during the day, is at school. And if someone next to me is stressed about the homework that they didn't do, or the teacher is stressed because no one's turning in their work, I know that I feel that emotion a lot too. So I know like before, especially in like 4th grade, I didn't really know what an empath was at that time. And I remember just coming home being so stressed out, and we never knew why I was so stressed out. And then now I know that the reason why I was so stressed out was because I was taking on other people's emotions.
Yeah, and how does that affect you in your daily life, or how have you learned to deal with that?
I've learned to deal with that kind of with a special prayer that I do that just kind of helps. And would you like to tell the prayer?
Sure. Yeah, one thing that we both do, and sometimes we do this many, many times throughout our day, and sometimes we just have to do it once or twice. But I would say this is something that we both practice on a daily basis. And it's really easy. You can say it out loud, or you could say it in your head, depending on where you're at.
You could say it anywhere.
Yeah, and depending on if you believe in God or higher source or power, whatever it is, you don't even have to call it a prayer. But the way that we like to say it is, especially when we're feeling a flood of emotions that we know are not ours, we say, God, if these feelings that I'm feeling are not mine, please bless them and send them back to where they belong, and please help them to deal with them. And God, if these are my emotions, please bless them and help me to deal with them.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really important parts about that is, I think it's important to send the emotions back to whoever it is. And she often will say, it would come up more as she was a little bit younger, but she would say, well, Mom, if they're your emotions, I don't want to give them back to you if they're anxiety or they're stress. But, you know, we've talked about this a lot, and even if they are my emotions, and even if it's stress or anxiety, they're my emotions, and they're not for her to deal with. And vice versa, if she's having emotions, I can help her, but they're not for me to deal with. But one major thing that I feel is so important about that is to ask that they be blessed. Because I believe that a lot of times, if we're taking on those emotions, it's not just because we're an empath, it's because somebody else is probably having a hard time dealing with them. And so I think the blessing is a really nice way to kind of send them back and ask God, source, universe, the higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, to help the other person to deal with the emotions when you do send them back to them. And it's been a really beautiful way, I think, for both of us to kind of get out of the mindset that maybe we were in and to reground ourselves.
Yeah, and I know I definitely use that prayer on like a daily basis if I'm stressed at school, or even if I'm in the car and I'm feeling kind of stressed, I'll just use that. And even if you don't know if it's your emotions or someone else's emotion, it's always good to do it just in case they're not your emotions.
Exactly. Maybe we can give a scenario or two on different situations where, I know you gave school, which was an amazing one, but where we do pick up on other people's emotions or what it's like when that happens. So I know there was a situation recently where you happened to be around an adult who had a lot of excitement and also maybe some anxiety about starting a new job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how did that kind of play out for you?
At first I started feeling really excited when they were excited, and then they started kind of saying how like they were really nervous about it too. And then all of a sudden I started feeling like really stressed and kind of starting to feel like not very good, because when in my personal experience, when I start to feel really stressed, I start to feel kind of like I'm sick. And so I started to just feel kind of like I was sick. And then she got really excited again. So then I was getting really excited. So my emotions were definitely going like up and down and up and down.
You were kind of like a little roller coaster
Yeah.
all over the place. Yeah. And were you able to use the tool of the prayer to be able to kind of send those emotions back and get back into your own self?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to hear. So we just want to be able to, over the process of the next couple of weeks, months, however long that we continue to do these for, that we are providing you with different tools and different scenarios. And like I had said previously, some extra special guests that maybe are skilled in dealing with empaths, and also to have some children on who have dealt with what it's like to be an empath as a kid. Because I know a personal story for me is when I was little, I was very, very sensitive and very intuitive. And she is extremely intuitive and sensitive. And when I was little and I tried to talk to people about it, it wasn't well received. And so at a very young age, I learned to kind of take that intuition and just stuff it down and not allow it to lead me and guide me. And so it's been a really beautiful process, I think, for both of us to recognize that she does have this special gift, because I do truly believe that it is an amazing gift. And it's been really beautiful for us to recognize that and work through the different things that have come up in being an empath. Because one thing I know for me in particular, and I see this in you a lot as well, is sometimes when we are an empath or when we're just highly sensitive, we have a tendency to take on different identities because we can feel how other people are feeling. And so one of the things that comes up for me a lot, and I believe that comes up for you quite a bit, is we take on these identities. And for us, one of them is being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I like to call myself a recovering people pleaser because I'm really working on that. Yeah. But when you know kind of how other people around you are feeling without them saying it, you also sometimes get in a position where you may feel like you have to act or behave in a certain way so that you could accommodate their feelings. Mm-hmm. For instance, if somebody is really anxious or maybe gets angry really easily, you may not be as happy as you feel inside, and you may start to kind of play a little small. And you want to say something to that?
I was just agreeing.
Okay. And you may start to play down your own emotions and your own personality to fit the needs of other people. And another thing that I see come up a lot in my own life, and I believe you also deal with, is kind of always wanting to be in that like good girl or good boy, if it be, scenario, because you feel like, if I'm always a good girl, then I won't hurt anybody's feelings because I already know how they're feeling. Yeah. And it's amazing to be a good person, but sometimes we have a bad day ourselves. And so we just want to let everybody know that even if you're an empath and you're highly sensitive, you don't have to stop being who you are in your heart and in your soul to accommodate other people. That it is always okay to be exactly who you are and how you're feeling in that moment, because all of us have a right to be happy or sad or excited or mad or whatever it is that's going on for you at that time, and to kind of not turn into a chameleon, I guess, if you will, and change your emotions based on those around you. So that's one thing that we both really work on together, and that I know we work on individually as well, is just really staying true to ourselves and to our own personalities, and not allowing what other people think or say or do that are around us influence necessarily how we move forward in life. Yeah. Is there anything else that is maybe coming up for you presently that you feel would be important for, I'm really feeling kind of into kids, and some kids that may be having these feelings, and what's coming up for me is feeling a little bit lost, or maybe feeling alone, and kind of feeling like, gosh, I feel like this and I don't think other people feel like this, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Is there anything that you can talk to that point?
I think that definitely, if you are feeling those emotions, you're obviously not the only person who is probably feeling those emotions, and maybe you should try and like talk to some people about it, because I know before, if I never would have come home and said like, I was really stressed out today and I don't know why, I know that we would never ever like today have been able to figure it out like as easily as we did. And I would probably still be feeling super stressed all the time and like super anxious. So I think that that's definitely something like you should really touch base with someone and see if they could help you at all.
Yeah, and I think that moms and dads are an amazing source. But if there's somebody else in your circle, or somebody out there, or us, if you want to reach out to us, we are definitely here to answer questions, to help anybody out who is feeling maybe like they just need to be understood a little bit more, or that they want to even maybe understand more about what an empath is, or maybe they don't know if that's them. And that's okay. And we just want to let everybody know that it's okay to be exactly who you are. Yeah.
And like you say all the time, everybody at least is a little bit of an empath.
Exactly.
And you say that all the time.
Yes, that is something I say. Yeah, I do believe that we all are empaths, but to different degrees. And I am lucky enough that I have this amazing little human here who is super, super intuitive. And she can tune in sometimes to things around her that is absolutely amazing. And also at times can be quite overwhelming. So I think our main goal and purpose is just to make sure that people know that they are not alone, that there are so many of us out there, out in this world, that are feeling this way, that are picking up on other people's energy, and that you don't have to hold on to it, that you are allowed. You don't need our permission, but we are giving you permission to send that energy back, to not take it on, and to just deal with your own personal emotions, because in my opinion, that is just plenty enough. Yeah. Any other little last tips before we sign off?
I think we covered most of them that I was thinking of before.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we hope that you join us again for our next episode, where we're going to have some more juicy goodness. We want to send you guys lots of love and light to you always, in all ways. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to talk to you guys again soon. Lots of love.